Hello, everybody, and welcome to the White Hatter YouTube News Show. I'm Brandon.
I'm Darren.
Let's get into some updates.
I think the show today is going to get a little interesting. Prior to this, we had a good discussion. We were supposed to start like 45 minutes ago, and we got onto this topic, and we just couldn't stop. I mean, it was kind of interesting, right? So,
first update is we are opening up Q&As. So if you have any questions for the White Hatter team, anything about online safety, security, digital literacy, we're going to do like a White Hatter Q&A response video. Link to that to ask a question is down below in the description.
Don't forget, when you go to the YouTube page, hit that subscribe button.
Which is what you're on right now.
There you go.
And Tech Tuesdays again are happening on Facebook, which you are hosting.
Yeah, that's
and
tomorrow.
Still at 6:30, which
it is.
Will not be tomorrow when this goes live.
Oh, that's right. I got to stop saying that.
Again,
I said that
it'll be
last
on
time
Tuesday.
Too. Right. So this Tech Talk Tuesday is titled, Hey, Mom, Dad, can I have a cell phone? We're going to talk about everything about cell phones that parents need to know about cell phones.
And that'll be on Facebook at
kind of timely, we're only like here in Canada, we're about 4 or 5 weeks out from school. I know in the U.S. There's a couple states that have already started schools. Right? So, yeah. Kind of interesting.
So let's get into some news topics for the week.
In the news.
First news topic. We usually talk about kind of more concerning topics here on the show, but this topic's a little different. Lucasfilm hires a YouTuber after they discover their deepfakes of Luke Skywalker were actually better than their deepfakes of Luke Skywalker.
Okay, please tell me they weren't nude deepfakes.
No. So here's an image here. The original's on the left, and the YouTubers is on the right. And
look at the difference.
It's way better. And they love this so much that apparently they got a job at Lucasfilms because of it.
There you go. You know, we hear all these negative things about deepfakes, right? And there's a lot of negatives. But isn't this interesting how somebody who was involved in deepfakes have now been offered a good paying job, probably, from Lucasfilms, right? Kind of cool, right? Kind of cool.
Just another
How
great
old?
story.
Do we know how old the person was?
No, I don't think that was on here. Yeah.
I mean, it's just interesting, right? A positive spin to a negative issue, right? So, yeah.
Let's go into the somewhat be aware things.
Here we go.
Google to block logins on old Android devices starting in September. So Google is emailing Android users to let them know that starting late September, they will no longer be able to log into their Google accounts running Android devices 2.7.7, also known as Gingerbread, which was released back in 2010.
So it's about 22 years now, right?
Yeah.
Well, this makes sense, right? Does it?
It does make sense. Now, if you try to log in after September 27th, you may get errors in your password and login to Google because you won't be able to sign into your account, create a new account, perform a factory reset. That one's interesting. Change your password or sign in or sign out of all your devices or remove your account from the device.
So
now,
will you still be able to use your phone?
You can still use your tablet or phone, but you just wouldn't communicate with Google.
Is this kind of like what Apple does? Apple does kind of the same thing, right? No?
To a degree. I mean, your phone works. It just may not. Certain apps may not be compatible or that kind of thing. So I mean,
and why? Because it just works. It just works.
Right. We'll talk about that later. What's interesting for me is that you can't remove
you
can't log out. Where are my words? Where did that come from? You can't log out of your Google account, and you can't deactivate your account from the device. Now, from a security standpoint, that one's very interesting for me because, what's stopping somebody from, you toss your device in recycling, and then your old device is there. You can't factory reset it.
Hey, speaking of these old devices, did you see how the Olympics this year, the medals were made out of reprocessed gold and silver and precious metals out of old devices?
Oh, that's cool.
That's how they made the medals this year in the Olympics. That's pretty cool, right?
That is cool.
It is pretty cool. Anyways.
So if you have an old device, Android doesn't work.
Time to update to
maybe
an iPhone.
You do Hulk Smash.
Hulk Smash and get an iPhone.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah, get an iPhone.
Just get a newer device. Doesn't have to be iPhone, but yes.
Get an iPhone.
On the same...
Apple, if you're watching, sponsor us. The White Hatters.
Sponsored by Apple.
Just say.
Well, they got the money.
Yeah, who knows?
Next is Google again. So Google updated its policies for the App Store, and effective September 1st, they are looking to ban all sugar daddy apps as part of new sexual content restrictions. As Google states, we are updating inappropriate content policy to institute new restrictions on sexual content, specifically prohibiting compensated sexual relationships, i.e. sugar dating. Now, okay, so a couple things.
This is where we went for 45 minutes before the show started.
The problem I have with this article, and even Google at this matter, is they're lumping all sugaring into sexual relationships, which is not true.
Yeah, I mean, when sugaring first appeared many years ago, it was all about, people who were looking for dates to go out on. There was nothing sexual about it, right? However, over the past couple of years, sugaring and sugar daddy, sugar babies has been hypersexualized primarily. Not all the time. I get it.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Right? And so as a result of that, Google has made a business decision that they're going to start dealing with these sugar daddy sites that are primarily being used for the purposes of financial benefit from hypersexualization.
Okay. What about for like adult relationships?
Yeah, see, that's the difference, right? Like,
and for those that are not sexual.
Yeah, I mean, but see, if it's an adult, and depending upon the countries, even the states in the United States,
True.
Here in Canada, it's 18. Over the age of 18, you're an adult. If it's an adult, they should have the ability to say and do whatever it is that they want to do, right? Like, it's as long as it's legal.
Yeah, and it
right?
is Google's. People say this is against the law. No, it's people's rights. Well, it is Google's storefront. They choose what they want to sell and what they choose to put on there. I'm not arguing with that. What I'm arguing is what they're choosing to really hammer in on this sugaring definition, which is not accurate.
Yeah, I think the intent of this is to deal with the exploitation that is taking place with respect to the sugaring movement as it is today, right? Not as it is today. And so, and where individuals out of necessity for survival money in a lot of ways, like we met and interviewed a parent, single parent, young child during COVID, lost her job, no source of income, had to pay rent, food, diapers, the whole 9 yards. Had no way to do that, so they turned to sugaring as a way to make survival money, right? But there's a good example how their situation was now being exploited, right, online, because they had no other way to do what it is that they had to do to get money. Now, does that make it right? No, it doesn't. Do I understand why she did it? Absolutely. And she's an adult, and therefore she should have the right to do that. But it's still a form of exploitation, right? And I think that that's what Google is attempting to do here, is they're trying to deal with, are they throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Maybe, based upon what it is your thoughts are on this. But I do think it is a good step to start dealing with some of the exploitation and predation that we see going on with these sugar daddy sites as they are.
I don't think it's going to do much because, as we see with other websites that deal with more sexual content, which they don't have apps, they're solely web-based, and they make the website super mobile-friendly.
Are we talking OnlyFans?
Yeah. OnlyFans, other sites like that. OnlyFans is trying to. They announced they want to move away from sexual content, and they want to be more like a fan house page and just general supporters.
And there's some good things that happen on OnlyFans, right? Like there are a lot of musicians use it and stuff. So.
Exactly. So they want to focus more on that. I think they're going to have a PR issue trying
branding.
to.
I think their branding's being pretty well
set in stone. But we'll see. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Again, I think my problem with the article in regards to the definition, and they're really focusing on the sexual content, which, as we know, is not accurate. It's a lot broader than that, but I understand the intent here. But I think they're really focusing on the buzzword of sugar daddy and sugaring, which I think is a little inappropriate in terms of how they're trying to do it.
Yeah, and just how it's been rebranded to what it means over the past couple of years, right? Like it or not, the term sugaring was hijacked by the porn industry, right? That's what has happened, right? Much like everything else. So interesting, right? Interesting. I do think it is a good move to try and deal with some of the exploitation that's going on these sites of both young people and even older adults. But having said that, older adults do have the right to make those types of decisions.
Yeah, I mean, people argue. I guess, as I said, this is Google trying to silence people, but it's their storefront, and they choose what they want to put there.
For sure.
Don't like it? Go to a different storefront.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Next one. Apple patches exploited 0-day vulnerability in iOS and macOS. So that wonderful phone of yours had a 0-day vulnerability for someone to hack in and take control. Fixed now.
Of course it's fixed.
But just make sure that you have your updates automatically enabled. If not, make sure you update.
You know, I am an Apple fanboy, as you know. We know. And it does have its issues. Like, don't get me wrong. It really does. One of the cool things I do like about Apple, however, is that when some of these vulnerabilities are brought forward, they are pretty quick. Not all the time, but most cases are pretty quick at finding patches to patch them up. I mean, they're branding, right? Trying to protect their branding and what it is that they do. But it's like any other, and we've been saying this for years, just because you have a Mac, an Apple, an iPhone doesn't necessarily mean that you're 100% safe from all this stuff, right? You're not. And so therefore, even if you're an Apple user, you need to be taking proper protocols, putting proper protective protocols in place to protect your devices.
Precisely.
Apple, non-Apple, whatever it is, you need to protect.
The problem with Apple is that, when there's a problem, it affects everything in Apple. Because Apple controls its system so tightly.
Maybe that's why I like it, because I'm such a control freak.
Maybe. But
did you disagree with me?
Yes. So
are you trying to say that I'm a control freak?
No.
Am I a control freak?
Maybe a little. So you're looking at Apple, and there's a problem with one device. There's a problem with all devices.
Yeah.
So they control their ecosystem tightly, so they can fix problems, but the problem is more widespread. But they're quickly fixed.
Yeah, they deal with them fairly quickly.
So there's pros and cons.
Although we talked about one vulnerability that somebody brought it to the attention of Apple. I forget what show it was, like 6 months ago, and to this date, we don't think that there was a patch fix yet for it. I forget what that was, but we talked in one of our shows about an issue that was brought to the attention of Apple, and it still hadn't been fixed. Do you remember what that was?
Was it the text issue
or
the Wi-Fi issue?
Yeah, maybe it was the Wi-Fi issue. It was something.
That's fixed now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I take back my words.
Yeah, there you go.
No, there you
go. So yeah, Apple, make sure you update, because updates are important. Next one, Trend Micro did some analysis looking at spam websites and scam websites over the last year, and they identified that there's an increasing use of browser notification spam tricks that trick people into clicking on ads.
Can you give me some examples of
this?
So,
kind of complicated, but let me kind of describe this as best as possible. So right now, many browsers have the ability for you to get notifications from the websites you love. Useful, effective. Problem is that anyone who has a website can send you a notification going, hey, would you like to receive notifications from my website? Click allow or deny. Now, some of these can be a little tricky. Some of them can be scams. So you click on, allow notifications, and then maybe a week later, a couple days later, you get a pop-up on your browser from Chrome saying, bink, hey, there's a problem with a virus on your computer. Click this link to fix the problem. Takes you to a website that's an anti-malware site, which is fake. You download a virus, gets into your system, and it's just a whole bunch of nasty.
So, a whole bunch of nasty. Nasty. So, what's the moral to the story? Because on these types of things that you bring to the attention, I always ask you, what is our viewer to take from this?
Check which websites that you allow to send you notifications directly into your browser. Depending on the browser, it's typically in your settings, under preferences, could be under privacy. And then you want to check to make sure the websites are the actual websites that you want, because there could be a Facebook, but it could be misspelled a bit.
And speaking of browsers, I spoke last week on my Tech Talk Tuesday, about maybe looking at different browsers to help protect from things like this, more privacy-related browsers like Firefox or the new Brave browser. Have you had a look at Brave, by the way?
I haven't installed it myself, but I've installed it. I use Firefox, Chrome, Opera, Edge. I use them all depending on the purpose.
We do. So are some browsers more protective against issues like this, or does this apply to any browser?
I definitely Chromium-based browsers.
This boomer had a good question.
Chromium-based browsers, I definitely for sure. I don't know what Brave does and how it identifies with notifications. You may know more about that than I do. But definitely Chrome was the first one that came out with notifications in browser. But I do, and Chrome's my primary one, so that's where I mostly see them. I do believe Firefox has notifications as well.
Right.
So,
because you're right, we use a variety of different browsers, especially as online investigators, to kind of meet what it is that we're doing. Because each browser has some specific issues on it that can be advantageous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I use it for just account management. If I'm doing white hatter stuff, I use one browser, do my personal stuff, another browser. So that's kind of, because the problem that I have is that in the job we do, and many people who have all these digital accounts for many different reasons, I have my personal, the white hatter, other accounts that I don't want to log in and out all the time. So I have each account pre-logged in to each particular browser.
Well, aren't you the smarty pants?
So if I'm doing my personal stuff, I'm using Safari, for example.
I think I'm going to start doing that.
It just keeps digital life a little more organized. Much like with my emails, each email account I have is attached to its own email client. So like Outlook is for work-related things.
Very cool. Apple
Mail is for personal-related things. So I'm not mixing and matching them. They're very separate.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's that.
Hey, it's August. It's August 2nd today.
I guess you're right.
It's August. It's like 4 or 5 weeks till school starts here in Canada. How's your summer projects going right now?
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot of things on the go. I mean, they're starting to come to fruition. I'm kind of watching what what you and Keegan are doing right now. This one project that you're doing, you did last week. This project on kind of doing a summary of what we do here as a company, right? So that looks really cool. I know that you guys are putting some final touches to that, and we're going to be shooting some other video here, and then hopefully this week, I think you said, right?
That's the plan.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
That's the plan. Will it actually happen? We'll see.
Yeah. So kind of interesting times. A lot of really cool things going on. I see Keegan designed a new header for the Facebook page. I think we may even put that on our website too, right?
Yeah, changes are afoot, and I think hopefully I think by the end of summer we should have some good new content and creative projects out there.
Very cool. So there you go. I'm Darren.
I'm Brandon. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.